It's always like your birthday with a package from China, so let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video, we're going to review the new system called the X60 Gamebox Handheld. So this device is a multiple use thing that have the option to and that was my review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video, we are going to take a close look at the 3.5 Gamebox, also called the X60. And do you know what it is? The X-Series handhelds are like the budget series of AliExpress. And what you can see over here, we do have a lot of different colors over here. We do have the Switch colors. I think there's only one on the box. They always like to mimic the Switch somehow. So what is quite interesting is that this thing comes including some, let's say, controllers. It's quite heavy, to be honest. But what can we do? So in the previous ones we have played a lot of different systems, but we did have a lot of issues. So they are claiming this thing supports 10 different emulators. And yeah, what you can see over here, the MAME is divided over a couple of different ones. So that's the reason they say they have 10 versions. So what you're going to get, of course, is the 8-bit, 6-bit handhelds and some arcade stuff. So what you can do with this thing, it's more like a hybrid system. You can bring this thing with you, play some games, but in the end you can just plug it on television and just play it that way. So inside we're going to get ourselves AV out. This thing doesn't have an HDMI so far, I know. So we do have the micro USB cable for charging, because these things have a built-in battery. It goes with 2 controllers, so something that is not common. And yeah, the controllers, oh man, it's going to be a quite interesting story with this. So let's take a close look at it first. So made of a very flimsy, cheap plastic thing. It weighs almost nothing. There's no rumble function. We do have the 6-button layout over here. The configuration is quite interesting. We do have A, B, R, and L. You know, everything is mixed up. The D-pad feels way too sturdy. Doesn't have even long travel. The joystick is the slider joystick. Think about the PlayStation Portable. I personally don't like these cheap ones. Select start and the reset over here. So you can navigate and reset the system when you're plugging it in. So let's see the system itself. Here we do have the very nice deluxe toilet paper manual. And let's see, there is even English on here. Yep, there is. Basic explanation how it works, but there is nothing much information about how it works. So let's show you that in this video. Okay, so for once I just wanted to get something else. I don't want to have the Switch colors anymore. But the form factor is quite interesting. So yeah, so what are we going to get with this cheap device? We're going to get not a very high quality product, that can't say you already. So at the back we're going to get one speaker, and the shell is quite ergonomic. When you're holding it, it feels quite okay. It feels quite sturdy. The D-pad is not really a D-pad, it's just one big gigantic button. The slider joystick, I think it's even it's more horrible than the one on the controller, so yeah, figure that out. Then we do got the A, B, X, Y and all the other stuff. The same configuration, what you can see over here, the same with the freaking controller. Then we do got select start, and I'm guessing this is the reset button. And that's it, that's the only thing that we're going to get with the configuration of the controls. What I do like about this thing, here you can see we have to play 1 and play 2. I do have 2 separate micro USB ports. And here is the micro SD card, the AV out is a tiny jack version, the on-off switch and the volume control. So let's boot this thing up and let's see what are we going to get with this. Alright, so... Oh! Okay, so what is interesting, not the music that they're using, but what is interesting, we do get a completely different layout. So, I'm guessing we're not going to get the same crap that we've seen before with the X-Series handheld. So, I think something is happening over there, that they realize they need to stop making those crappy products. Okay, so let's talk about the display. First, let's remove the screen protector. So what I've noticed, there is even an angle. You can especially see it in here. There is an angle, so the display is not correctly put in the shell itself. The overall, let's say, view angle is a little bit better than your typical, let's say, cheap device. But that's basically what you're going to get with these older displays in new handhelds, because they are the cheap devices. Alright, so what you're going to get is the same stuff, but we do have seen before with the thumbnails over here. The downside to the thumbnails, you cannot change them out, and yeah, they just slap some random stuff on it. At the bottom row, we do get the option to change between the systems. Here you can see over here, Mega Drive, Game Boy, stuff like that. So they give a nice tiny picture to it. I'm guessing the folder list, you can mess around with it with the internal files. I just booted it up and I have no idea what I just did. Seriously, no idea. Okay, so when you're choosing a certain category, here you're going to get yourself the file. So basically it shows up the files are in here. And that's it. Like nothing really fancy. With the reset or menu button you go back. There's sometimes a tiny preview. But the first thing I've noticed, like we do have the problem that the language. So the only thing I can do is go into the quick load, quick save menu. And the way how you do that is basically that we're going into the game itself first. Okay, so here we do have like the quick save quick menu. So when you're pressing the button over here we do have continue, going back. Here we have like the quick load, quick save file, and then we do have like reconfigure of the controls, and we even have like the option to change out what kind of, let's say, region you're using. But unfortunate here we cannot change out the language, so everything is not in English. So that's pretty damn horrible. Okay, but nevertheless, let's take a close look at some gameplay. So we're going to try out some Neo Geo. But so far I can see like the game seems to be running just fine. Good audio, no weird screen tearing whatsoever. So, quite interesting. Okay, so next up I wanted to try some basic arcade games, but unfortunately here you can see already the first problem that we're going to face. And the problem is that we don't have any audio whatsoever. So that's always like the problem with these devices. Like you can see like the emulation performance, it's pretty damn good, but unfortunate there is no audio. So let's reset it again just for fun, just to see what happens if we reset it. So we do have like audio, so what you can see over here. So let's boot it up again and let's see if we can get audio now. And again, I just wanted to try it out. Maybe it does need a reboot, but unfortunate, this game doesn't have audio. And this is the stuff that will happen with these shiny knockoff things. I find a little bit of a bummer in my opinion, because this was, by the way, an absolutely great game, Forgotten Worlds. And yeah, like, why didn't they test it out? How can you mess something like this up? Alright, so next up, let's try some Game Boy Advance. So then it looks like as the D-pad seems to be working just fine. But it's quite unfortunate what you can hear. Like the weird thing is like with sometimes you do have like very nice audio. The audio quality is mediocre. Especially when you listen to it. There's also like quite a difference between audio levels between emulators. But again, you cannot like really do anything about it. You cannot get into the emulator itself, so you cannot fix any issues. But so far I can see that the emulation seems to be working just fine. Okay, so next up some beefcake turning into wolfies, and what you think that you have seen all kind of crappy emulation and you don't expect anything from this device, this thing just surprised me because the emulation itself, it's not bad at all. All sound effects are here, the audio quality is pretty damn good. It's a little bit louder than with the GBA, so it sounds way better. So for a GBA, it's a little bit bummer, but for the Mega Drive part or Genesis 16-bit, seems to be running just fine. Beefcake and let's we come, Wolfie, come on, give me the power to become Wolfie and to leave the beefcake behind. Come on, come on. Yeah, Wolfie time. So next up I wanted to play 16-bit Super Nintendo or Super Famicom, but unfortunate, it's really pretty damn horrible. You're going to see with the animation it started and you can just hear it. So that's the problem with these Chinese devices. Sometimes you find something thinking, hey, this is the shit, like it's going to be running pretty damn cool. But when you go and boot up a couple of, let's say, of these games, you will face a lot of problems. We can still hear the audio goes freaking like ape shit. Yeah, that makes this thing freaking unplayable. Let's see how the gameplay in general is. Lamborghini Challenge, one of my favorite games to play with Super Nintendo. That's such a fun game. Where's the turbo? Oh yeah, there it is. Nitro, baby. It's playable, but I find a little bit of bummer about the audio. So I'm guessing this is more like an audio problem than it is going to be like a visual problem. Okay, so for the final test, let's try some Famicom games. Okay, so we do have Turbo, so that's pretty cool. I must admit, I'm quite surprised by the D-pad, because it feels so horrible, but when you go to actually play some games, it seems to be working just fine. So when it comes to the NES part, this seems to be running just fine. So this hybrid device, I think it's a pretty damn cool idea. So you can just plug it in, you can already hear it on the background. See, it switches back very easy automatically from the display or the mini display on the handheld to the monitor. So that part seems to be working just fine. So let's plug in a controller. Let's plug in player one. I can still navigate through this over here. And it seems to be the controller works just fine. So let's plug in game. Let's see if it's going to be actually working like this. Okay, one thing is for sure, I hear a lot of interference. So the audio quality is, in combination with the video quality, is pretty damn bad. But okay. Alright, so everything seems to be working just fine. We do have mono output when it comes to the AV out. But I think it's pretty damn cool to see that it actually works fine. I'm also quite surprised that the controller plays very nice, the D-pad. Personally prefer the slider joystick than the D-pad. But overall it seems to be working just fine. I think it's pretty damn cool to have this neat feature with this handheld. So that's pretty cool. So basically turn it into a game box. But let's take a close look in the inside. So for example, can we change out the internal battery? So I must say that I'm quite surprised but also disappointed at the same time. So why I'm surprised that some parts of the system works very well. Like we don't have like this X-Series bullshit. Like you can see, like if you've seen my previous videos, we have this really horrible menu that works not really great, and like this thing has so much issues. But unfortunately, what is quite disappointing, that this thing doesn't have like great perfect emulation. I don't understand like why it's so freaking hard to make a handheld that actually like plays all of the freaking games, especially the 16-bit stuff. We've reached the point that we can actually play a lot of stuff on many different handhelds. Oh, again, I need to get myself more prior tools. But this thing does have like a lot of issues. Alright, the thing is, a lot of these prior tools are super easy to use. Alright, let's see if I can open it up, or is there a clicking mechanism? There's something that is holding it back. Maybe it's the SD card. Don't forget to remove that one too. Wouldn't it be the first time that somebody destroys their SD card by doing the wrong thing? Okay, so the battery itself is a very tiny one. I'm not going to remove it because it has been basically put over here with some double-sided tape. The battery gets really hot, so I don't know if this is going to be like a big issue in the future. You can replace it if you want to, you just need to resolder it back to the position. But these things are around like 2000 plus milliamp, what I understand of the previous ones. I have tear down. So let's get all of these things aside. Another thing you need to take consideration if you have an SD card like this thing is 8 GB. I would always like make a backup out of this, because backing up is going to be very helpful, especially when it comes to the firmware itself, if it's on here. Okay, so what you can see over here, like a lot of parts have still been like held down by a screw of 4 or 5. Doesn't even matter. Let's remove these two. Let's see how this thing looks on the other side. Let's see if we can fix the display, because the display was crooked as it can be in the inside. So it was a little bit of a bummer, if you ask me. Alright, so we almost removed every single screw. Only there's all that one of them that I'm forgetting. They tightened them up very well. And I'm thinking I'm not having the perfect screwdrivers. Next up I need to get myself like the toolkit I'm having and using most of the time. Be very gentle with this, because the freaking like speaker is like solvent straight onto the main board, and the main problem with this, like they are like very thin wires. And there is another one screw over here. Okay, so let's get myself a different kit, because this fits way better than the other one I've tried. Okay, so let's wiggle this thing out. I think I cannot remove it because of the joystick over here. Alright, so let's tear this thing further down. Aha! Okay, Okay, so over this we do get like the cheap membrane buttons. They're still using it, the translucent ones. Okay, so over here we do get like all the other buttons, nothing really fancy. Let's get this thing ripped apart. Still the freaking annoying speakers in the way. Okay, so we can remove and replace the display if there was any problems. Okay, so the unfortunate thing is like we don't see the way of what kind of chip they're used over here. I'm guessing this is the RAM chip. It doesn't even matter, like the razors are over here for the monitor or the display. So when you're looking on the inside, there's nothing really fancy over here. We need to put this thing on the other part, otherwise I can't put it together. But let's put it back together. There's even some filth over here, so I think I need to clean it up before I'm going to put it back together. Yeah. Okay, before I'm forgetting it, like what's quite interesting that I don't know why they basically like marked it over here, but you can see over here 2022. So this thing is very new. It's even version 2.0. So alright, so I never got myself version 1.0. But it's quite interesting to see that this actually like a really new product, not the same stuff that they did like a new model and they slapped in a new, or better said, a new case and an old mainboard. You know, the crap they are doing a lot. But this time, it's actually a new product. Okay, so this is absolutely a great example. It's like when they make something completely new and they improve a lot of things, but at the same time, they're still messing up stuff. For example, when you're looking at the handheld with the language settings, like where the hell do I like switch this out? Like there is no settings whatsoever. With the toilet paper manual, it doesn't explain anything, and we're stuck with the crappy, like say, non-English language. A little bit of a bummer in my opinion, and there is nothing to do about it so far I know. Let me know in the comments if you have figured it out. Nevertheless, like when you're looking at the things like the thumbnail, stuff like that, it looks maybe all fancy, but it's still the same problem. If the file behind it gets corrupted, you have just a problem with the shortcut doesn't work. The overall quality is not super bad, but yeah, you're not paying a lot of money for it. And yet again, the emulation, it's a mixed performance. Some systems run very well, some run really bad. The controller configuration, like plug and play, seems to be working just fine. It's a great option, and this thing comes with packed up a lot of new features, but it still has a lot of problems. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become the Wicked family, and it would be great to see you in the next video.